is up? Yee! We getting it, boy.
What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Your baller back again. Smells like football season.
Yo. Whoa.
What is up, San Francisco 49er faithful fans? Man, we are here on a Victory Monday. Y'all know what it is, straight out of the Bay. I got my man right next to me, Jay in the Bay.
What's good? Hey, always
And
a pleasure to be with the Straight Outta Bay crew. Happy to be here. How you guys doing tonight? What's good, Eric?
Hey, feeling great. Whoo! How about that win? Ready to break it down and talk some ball.
Real talk. Hey, what, man? We're going to get into it. But before we do that, man, we got to say, man, we lost a great 49er faithful fan today, Corey Davis. If y'all don't know who he is, man, I shed some tears this morning, man. I heard it early this morning, and rest in peace to the fullest. Everything that I've never had the pleasure to do a show with Corey, but everything that I did know about him, I felt like I knew him just watching him. He seemed like a very, very gracious, just kind, good-hearted dude. He loved his 49ers, and prayers to the family and all that good stuff. Real talk. If you guys wanted to touch on KD, have at it.
Absolutely, man. I started my YouTube journey back in 2020, and Corey Davis, I called him KD. He was definitely one of my early supporters, and sucks that he, has gone so soon. I know he has some health struggles, and he's no longer in pain, and that's great. But I know it's a tough loss for his family, and he was a diehard 49er fan. Enjoyed his support. He started his own YouTube channel, which was great to see. I know he collabed with a lot of YouTubers, but yeah, definitely gone too soon. And his fandom could not be questioned, that's for sure. So he was a diehard 49er fan through and through, Bay Area guy as well. So we're all from the Bay, of course. So of course that touches home. But sending well wishes to his fam, and sucks that he's gone so soon.
Definitely. R.I.P. KD. I didn't know him personally, but I have kind of tuned in on some shows, like you said, Jay. Whether it was No Border Sports. Shout out to Ryan. I've kind of checked in on him, and he's doing a show with KD. So it's a tough loss.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, man. I mean, words. Today there was a few things. There was some other stuff in my family life that it's a little bit of a tough day, and it just, I always try to take anything to just remind me to be thankful and grateful, and this life is precious, and I'll just keep it like that. But prayers. Hey, man, we had a football game on Sunday, and it was the 49ers versus the freaking Eagles. It was the rematch. And I know it's not the playoffs, but at the same time, it had all the hype you could ever want. Arguably, the number one, the number two best teams in the NFL were at their house. We know all the stuff that's been talked, the talking back and forth. And hey, let's just get let's just get our overall thoughts. And what I mean by overall thoughts, man, more so like during the game, like how were you really feeling during the game? Hey, we could break the game down. We're gonna break it all down from beginning to end, offense, defense. But how did y'all feel during the game? Were there any moments where you just jumped up? What just your overall thoughts, your excitement, maybe even a little bit of concern in the beginning of the game. And I'll just go ahead and start it off. Like I haven't been on Twitter too much, when the game is actually playing. And when we went through our first drive, I went on Twitter just to see. And there were a lot of folks losing their S. And I immediately was just like, man, this is why I have taken a break, whether it's from YouTube or, social media. And hey, man, we came back in a major way. There were 2 times where I jumped off of my couch, and that's when Debo scored. Not the rushing touchdown, but when he scored that second touchdown, I think it might be the first time all year where I pulled the Ken Norton Jr. air punching in my freaking living room. I hopped up off the couch, did my uppercuts, pretended like I was hitting the ground or whatever it was I was doing. It was a thing of absolute beauty. My overall thoughts is just that, man, we went in there and 6 consecutive touchdowns. The first time it's been done since 1992. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was one of Steve Young's MVP years. I mean, it's just incredible, versus an opponent like that at their house, regardless of the 10 days of rest. Strip it all away. I mean, we did everything that we wanted to. It was a masterful performance by the offense. Shanahan, the defense, keeping them to 6. But those were the times where I hopped off the couch 2 times. And then I think it was the third one where BA went sliding into the end zone. And just that spoke to me. Like, look how happy they are for each other. Like, this is a team. This is a full freaking team. They are on a mission. Listening to Bosa talking about we had a plan, not caring about the sacks. I love it. Love it to the fullest. Like, and when I say a team, like that's why the Warriors last year, I felt like their biggest downfall last year, they weren't a team. And we are a team on a mission. We have every piece we could ever want. And those were my main things. Jay and the Bay, I'll start with you. Was there at any point you hopped up off the couch, like, whether it's air punching, screaming, any of those kind of things that were those moments in the Jay and the Bay house?
Absolutely, man. Those moments were definitely there. But I have to talk about before the game. A lot of back and forth from Debo, from Riddick. Uh, going back from last year, obviously Purdy got hurt first drive. The Eagles put it on us last year, and the Niners played like they had something to play for. I know it was just a regular season game, but this game does have a seeding. This does have seeding. The word isn't coming to my head, but basically, this game could decide who gets the first seed in the playoffs, and who gets that first round bye. So there's a lot riding on this game. You had Trent Williams, Debo wearing all black to the game, and a few other guys. I think Chase Young was wearing all black. So this game meant a lot to the 49ers. You may have not seen that the first 2 offensive drives, but it's not always how you start, it's how you finish. And some people were saying before the game that the Eagles didn't have much to play for. It was their 3rd game in 13 days. And I think this was also their first home loss eventually. So that was kudos to the Niners as well. But a lot of hype going into this game. You got the 2 best teams in the NFL. And yeah, there were definitely some moments where I jumped off my couch. I thought Mooney Ward got beat, on a few plays early, but he came back big and negating a touchdown to AJ Brown in the end zone. That was huge. I thought it was huge that the Niners defense only gave up 2 field goals when we easily could have been down 14-0. So I thought that was huge. There are a lot of those types of moments in the game. But I'll leave some meat on the bone. But man, I mean, hell of a game. I think that was a game at the beginning. I was telling Kelps before the show, that game was one that I circled on my calendar. December football in the link. We know how their fans are. So it was incredible atmosphere and an incredible game if you're a 49er fan. So, but yeah, hell of a game.
Incredible atmosphere. And that's what makes this even more impressive. It's back-to-back weeks where Purdy and, this team in general has went into an opposing stadium, right? Last week, it was the Seahawks. We know what they do up there. Hostile environment in Philly. The Niners, they come out and they pull through. And it felt like the Niners, they wanted it more. Felt like their guys were going to do anything They had to make sure they walked away with a win. You saw the tenacity, the tenaciousness, the physicality. I got to be honest. After those first 2 offensive possessions, I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? Right? Because we're staying in empty, especially
Right.
the first position. We didn't even have McCaffrey in the backfield on any of the plays. And there was no threat to run the ball. I'm thinking, oh my God, Kyle's overthought this. What is he doing?
What is he
Right.
doing?
And then even in the second drive, still no handoffs to McCaffrey. So it was like, what's going on? You know, McCaffrey's been lights out. We're not going to give him the rock on the first 2 possessions, but Kyle Shanahan settled in. All the weapons, fellas, all the weapons were making plays. And we know there's not every guy can get 10 to 15 targets, but these guys, they maximize their targets. And what I love, a lot of times, especially, the wide receivers, if they're not getting enough touches, if they're not getting enough targets, they start chirping, right? They start talking to whether it's the quarterback. You see, the frustration. Debo and BA and Kittle, like these guys know they're not going to get 10 plus targets, but they're going to make it work with what they got. And they know with all this talent, it's the right thing to do. Right. Spread the ball out. And you love to see it because in this business and with the talent they have, some of these players they'd be frustrated not getting, the 10 catches and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But these guys maximize their touches. The 6 straight touchdowns was insane. The defense was really good, fellas. It felt like they were playing some bend but don't break. But like Jay said, holding them to those 2 field goals early in the game was absolutely crucial. The secondary, the coverage felt pretty tight. Sometimes it was a little loose, but when the pass rush needed to step up, they were able to make Jalen Hurts uncomfortable, get him outside the pocket. So, I mean, it was a great win. It was a playoff atmosphere, and the Niners, they flat out wanted it more.
And E, you mentioned that a lot of the playmakers, were able to make plays. You mentioned Jennings, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, CMC. So it's very hard it's very difficult for defenses to key on one guy. You could try to slow down the Ayuk, but then there's Debo, there's Jennings. So it makes it much more difficult for defenses to key on one guy. You can't really, because you don't know who Purdy's going to. And Purdy doesn't, I love seeing Purdy on those IU throws, those outs, getting first downs, but you can't really key on one guy. And I agree with you. In the first 2 drives, I was like, what are you doing, Shanahan? Why aren't you running the ball? And as soon as he started doing I formation with Juice, CMC, the running game, it just opened up. And I don't know if he was just trying to, throw some pass plays to open up the run, or usually we do it in reverse. Maybe that's what he was trying to do, but fortunately, it didn't come back to bite us. But we usually don't start slow like that at the beginning of a game.
Absolutely, man. Hey, the one positive that I took, man, what up, Tyler Rob? Yee. Hey, the one thing that I thought about instantly was, all right, if we would have came out and ran the ball 3 straight times and got stuffed, we'd probably be up over here talking about like, dude, what are we doing? We're playing conservative. So I instantly looked at the flip side, but I did not like when I think it was the first play of the game where Brock got his arm hit or the ball tipped. And I was like, oh no, like not this again.
Yeah.
Like hopefully we're not going to be in for this kind of a game. Oh, snap. Hey, y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just can't see you. But in regards to Shanahan not running the rock, I just wish he would have ran the ball in the beginning, I formation, because it seemed like when he started to do that, I think it was on the 3rd drive, you saw CMC kind of open up, and we were able to get some big runs, and we were able to get a few first downs. So I know you don't want to necessarily do what the defense is expecting you to do. I get it, but I don't know. When you go 3 and out, 2 straight drives, I guess it's like, well, it's time to get back to what we do best, and that's running the ball behind Trent Williams. So
yeah, absolutely.
It worked out, man.
Hey, and I was over here like, man, this is the slowest we have started all year. Just Hey, but we pulled it together in a major way. It was this game literally had, I think, everything you could possibly think of. We're going to get into it, and the next topic, man, is offense. Likes and dislikes. What were the main things that y'all liked? What was the main things that y'all disliked? And we can start it off with you, E. Take it off, man.
I got to start out with Debo Samuel. Debo, he talked the talk, he walked the walk. Just his explosiveness, catching the ball. I mean, there was a linebacker that had him wrapped up, but Debo just shrugged him off like he was a toddler, ran for 48 yards to the house. And like that wasn't the only physical play. Like this, there were so many physical plays. Like Jawan Jennings, I think he only had like 3 catches. All of them were like clutch, third downs. One of them, the touchdown catch he catches it, just stiff arms and eagle off of him, runs it. So the Niners played with such a physicality in this game. They were like, every player came in with the mentality that I'm not going to get tackled. I'm going to do everything possible to make sure we put this ball in the end zone. Christian McCaffrey, I thought his acceleration, his vision, like I think McCaffrey's looked really good. Just like the eye test the last couple games, McCaffrey's been awesome. Kittle, 17 yards per catch? He had one early in the game where he checked Reddick at the line, snuck out, caught it. He's running, and what I loved, fellas, the Debo end around for the touchdown. Okay, let me tell you something. They left Hassan Reddick unblocked. They used Hassan Reddick as ultra aggressive. They used his aggressiveness against him there. And that's what I like to see, because that's where Shanahan's scheming it up. And he's aggressive. So, yeah, he's going to chase after Purdy. Well, guess what? Debo on the end around is going to run right past you.
Yeah.
It was the game planning.
I said, last week I said run at Reddick. That's basically what I was saying. Use that against him. It reminds me of what Andy Reid did against Nick Bosa. A couple years back, Andy Reid kind of did that same thing to Nick Bosa in a way. But then on the flip side, and my bad to cut you off, but then on the flip side, like look how the Niners didn't get ultra aggressive and they came out with the game plan. I know I'm going to defense. I got to slip it in there, but just they had a plan, and it was just hella cool to see it unfold like that. But finish your point, my man.
Absolutely. No, it was a great game plan. Like you said, they used Reddick's aggressiveness against him. The O-line, man, they were run blocking. My key to the game, the one key to the game, I said, fellas, was that whoever runs the ball, whoever is able to establish the run was going to win this game. And I felt like that's how it played out, because the Niners ran it at over 5 yards a clip. And on the other side, we'll get to defense, but they shut down the run. So, fellas, it was a dominant win. Offense, like Jay says, leave some meat on the bone. But I mean, it was Debo.
Whoa. Let's get it.
Scoring 42 points on any defense in the NFL, that's an accomplishment. And what most stood out to me was the 49ers' effectiveness on third down. I mean, when you go 8 of 11 on third down conversions, you're going to most likely win that game as long as you're not turning over the ball. So I think it was key passes, of course, from Purdy, whether it was hitting Jennings and he stiff arms the guys, like, get off of me. And he goes to the end zone, scores, whether it's Kittle, whether it's CMC on a wheel route. Like it was perfect ball placement from Purdy. And you got to love being 8 of 11 on third downs. And it's definitely demoralizing to an already tired defense. I mean, like I said before in the intro, third game in 13 days. I think this defense was on the field for 92 snaps against Buffalo last week in the overtime game. So and we didn't even really, I think the time of possession was even. I think it was like we had 29 minutes, they had 31. But scoring on those 3 straight drives starting in the second quarter definitely demoralized this defense, and I don't think they want it anymore. They said no mas. So kudos to this offense and Kyle Shanahan and him scheming up the plays. And yeah, man, I mean, it's almost perfect execution, almost perfect, I would say. But that's definitely what stood out to me. Also, of course, with Brock spreading the ball out, you don't know who's gonna get theirs next. And yeah, man, if we continue to play like this, yeah, I could definitely see us, going real far in the playoffs. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's another team who is having this kind of quarterback play, has this kind of, maybe not this kind of, that has a productive run game as well. A consistent, productive run game with exactly. I'm thinking about the Dolphins. And then I'm thinking about Saleh with, how he was the only team to beat the Eagles. Just a master class by Shanahan. Got to give Shanahan his props. We see D'Amico doing his thing with the Texans. I know I'm getting off topic with the offense, but it just goes to show that, man, we got the cream of the crop in Shanahan. I've given Shanahan a hell of a hard time quite a few times on stuff that might not be so important. And he's phenomenal, man. He's phenomenal when he really dives deep, when he's not overthinking it and double guessing and doing the lukewarm thing, but he brought it to the fullest. How about Brock Purdy when he trucked the dude? Little old Brock. Little old Brock. When I seen that, and the announcers were talking about Brock Purdy thought he got more athletic and stronger, and we've heard the mini Bosa because of the legs, but Brock is strong, man. I mean, he ran through a tackle like he was Debo, and then lowered the shoulder on the hit. Like it's
That
almost
set the
like the
tone.
hit. It's almost like that hit that he took at the end, like felt good. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew
He
it was
wanted
coming.
it.
Like
He leaned into it.
We seen Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night. He got close to the sideline, said, "Oh, let me completely ease up," and gets rocked. You're not out of bounds yet, bro. This is the NFL. We know you're protected, but hey, just props to Brock for that. But I think the major, turning point was our first drive where we scored. I went back and watched that first drive where we scored, and it was like Ayuk, Debo, CMC, Kittle, or it was like they went when I went back and watched that drive just a few times, just because it was phenomenal the way they did it. Like everybody's gonna eat on this drive. This is how we're gonna do it. They planned it, went out and did it exactly like that. And like I said earlier, man, it's the first time that the 49ers have scored on six. I don't know if it's just the 49ers or NFL history, but the first time that the 49ers have scored six consecutive touchdowns since 1992. I mean, that's 30, 31 years. I mean,
Incredible.
every single week we hear this is the first time that this has been done since Kurt Warner. This is the first time this has been done since Joe Montana. This is the first time since Dan Marino. It literally started Brock's like first one or two games where he was in that, and he's still in that conversation of the first ever to be done with his small stature, last draft pick behind a quote unquote average O line. That just makes it even more incredible. Yes, he has the weapons. Yes, we got a great team, but it's like, no, I can't imagine Brock on another team because he's on the 49ers. And if you can't get hyped up for this, like if you're still on the hype of I need to wait and see, you're missing out. That's all I got to say, because it's a joy, man. It is a joy. It's reminiscent of the Warriors with Kevin Durant at this point. I know we don't got the championships, but when you see Sam Darnold come in and the players are wearing, baseball caps on the sidelines, I mean, what more could you ask for? This is maybe the fourth or fifth time where Darnold's been able to come in, and we're just, we put up 42 on Dallas, a great defense, 42 on the Eagles, great defense. And I know they've taken a step back, but it's just, I'm not taking it for granted, not the slightest bit. How about Burford, man? Burford came back. I don't know if that was by choice or what's going on with Burford and Feliciano, but they held it down.
Yeah.
They held it down. They were not wreaking havoc. I've seen the Eagles quite a few times this year, and it seems like they were being disruptive. I know Cox got in there one time, and respect to Cox. I love his little, sack dance that he does. I've always loved the Army crawl and the point. I've always respected that dude. Been watching him for years, but hey, man, our offensive line running behind Trent, CMC. Like, I described this offensive. This is the Tupac. How do you want it? How do you feel? Coming up in the cash game, all that, man. That's the 49ers right now. How do you want it? Like, which way do you want it today? Or, are we going to, come out throwing 3 straight times? We're going to come out running 3 straight times? Like, catch me if you can. Like, we could do it in multiple ways. Hey, man, we're the team to beat right now. The whole world knows it. We put on a magnificent display in the link, and it was just phenomenal, to say the least. I mean, and now, I think it was a couple of weeks, or I think just last week, somehow Purdy, or maybe since his 3 losses, or the 49ers 3 losses, he got bumped out of the MVP conversation. Now he's right back in it. How do y'all feel about Purdy? Little old Purdy. Who would have freaking thought? You know what I'm saying? Is not only like top 10 status, not just top 5 status. I mean, this man is the best quarterback in the NFL right now this year. I test statistically, it's amazing. It's just kind of like what the hell is going on here? We've been talking even the first few games about a Hollywood and Disney movie, and hey, this is real life, and we're watching it. How do y'all feel about Purdy being in the MVP discussion? Is he worthy of it? Is Purdy elite? Is he the franchise quarterback? How do y'all feel about Purdy?
Hey, first I gotta say, what's good? That's what Corey Davis would want me to say. Shout out to everyone that's in the comments right now. Appreciate it for saying Corey Davis, man. Obviously gone too soon. Sending well wishes to his family, but appreciate everyone tuning in. But I would say, nah, man, Purdy ain't no MVP, man. We gotta listen to Nick Wright. He ain't supposed to be here. He only good because of his weapons and Shanahan. We could have CJ Beathard doing the same thing, man. Obviously, I'm joking, man. Hey, but it's crazy that we're even having this discussion about a Mr. Irrelevant player in the NFL. Most Mr. Irrelevant players don't even start a game. So it's crazy to see that he's doing it at the quarterback position. And yes, he is playing at an elite level. I think he is an elite quarterback. Statistically, if you look at his numbers, he's first in quarterback completion percentage. He's first in average yards per attempt. He's got 23 touchdowns, 6 INTs. Like, if you look at all the major quarterback categories, Purdy's minimum top 7, but in a lot of categories, like, he's tied with highest QBR with Dak. He's got the number 1 quarterback rating in the NFL. So I think the MVP race is definitely between Purdy, Dak, and probably Tua. And you probably will put Lamar Jackson in there. I mean, his stats don't jump out, but he's got the Ravens. I think they're in first place. They're playing pretty well. But yeah, no doubt, Brock, he will be in the MVP discussion. And it's because partly it is because of the talent around him, but he's taking that talent, I think, to the next level. Based on his productivity. And it's kind of hard to believe that he's here and he's doing this, but he keeps doing it every game. This isn't a mirage. This isn't a blip. This is a trend that he's playing really well. And he's quarterbacking the best team in the NFL. So Purdy definitely deserves consideration. I think he should win it. I think he should definitely win it.
Absolutely. Purdy is in the MVP discussion. And before this game, I was looking at it. Okay. And different sites have different rankings or different odds on who the favorites are. But it was always, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson were the top 3 before this weekend's games. Okay. Then you had Purdy, Dak, and Tua, right? now I'm looking at these sites. Well, now Purdy is at the top of the list. Okay. It's like him and Dak are the new favorites. And I think the MVP is going to be whoever gets the 1 seed out of the NFC. Whoever can get that bye, lock in that number 1 seed in the NFC. Because typically it goes to a winning team, right? And whether it's, Purdy and the Niners or Dak and the Cowboys, which I don't think it'll be them, or Hurts and the Eagles. Like one of those three, in my opinion, is going to win the MVP. And Hurts, the Niners made him look relatively pedestrian yesterday. But what I will say is, man, those tush push TDs, man, those show up, in the stat sheet. And I feel like for MVP voters, that it's an extra 10 touchdowns that Hurts has on the ground because he's got dudes pushing him. Yeah. So keep that into account. But in my mind, it's whoever's going to come out of the NFC and win that conference is going to be the MVP.
We could, just a quick mention, we could see a possible sweep of those awards. You could say Coach of the Year, you could give it to Shanahan. Offensive Player of the Year, you could give it to CMC. Defensive Player of the Year, Fred Warner. MVP, Brock. Hey, you never know. It could happen.
Yeah, man, I'm looking at it like the MVP is the 49ers offense right now. It's just you can't have one without the other, man. And this team is so united and just playing for each other. Just watching, like I said earlier, watching Ayuk slide into the end zone for Debo's touchdown it just shows that these guys are like really for each other. They're maximizing week to week on putting on a show, but they're a team on a mission. Like, they've been knocking on the door and we're getting closer. But I did want to throw out, we're going to get the Lil Dome. What's his name? Big Dom? No, it's Lil Dome piece right there. We're going to talk about him, Los. Yeah, we're going to get to Lil Domey. Whatever, dude. Yeah. No yak without completions. And I wanted to say I seen a stat. Or I seen a picture that had all the previous MVP winners of the past like 5 or 6 or 7 years. And as a matter of fact, all those guys had more yak yards. Like how do I say this? Brock Purdy's percentage on yak for his yards is like 48%. Like all the other MVP quarterbacks is at like 51%, 55%. So actually, when people try to use that argument, like, oh, it's all the weapons he's got, it's all this, it's all that. Like, well, go look at Patrick Mahomes, all the yak that they were pulling out his MVP season. I don't know if you guys seen that picture or that stat, but when I seen that, I was like, whoever dug that one up, that's a good one right there to just shut that narrative down. Like to be the MVP, you're going to be surrounded by a Tyreek Hill or a Kelsey or, whoever it is. You don't become the MVP by yourself. That I don't know if that's maybe LeBron did back in the day, maybe Jordan, but even Jordan had Pippen, so.
Hey, LeBron didn't get it done until he went to Miami. LeBron didn't get it done in Cleveland when he had a relatively pedestrian cast. Like he needed to team up. He needed some talent too.
So what Purdy's doing, but basically my biggest point is like Debo did what he did, but I remember Jerry Rice taking 8-yard slants for 50 yards. And I can't ever remember not one time back in the day, because back in the day, man, there wasn't all these magnifying glasses. There wasn't all, everybody wasn't able to speak and get into people's heads and make them take narratives and, to do all that kind of stuff because, hey, I seen Jerry Rice take. So that's what he was known for. Of course, they were still throwing the long ball, but majority of it was those slants, and that man was gone. Whether it was Taylor, I think John Taylor still might have the longest reception in history. And I don't know how
Solomon?
long
there was Freddie Solomon early on, man. He was making plays.
Yeah.
Before Rice, it was Solomon.
Absolutely, man. So, but what Purdy is doing, it's incredible, man. He's on point. He obviously wasn't scared of the moment coming back to a place, especially, getting his arm hit, the first play of the game. He's just different, man. He's built different. It's like my first ever comparison. And I told the chat, don't come at me crazy. Minnesota Vikings game preseason. I'm on with Camperman. I'm like, bro, this dude looks like a young Russell Wilson. And what I mean by that is this dude looks like a prime Russell Wilson. And this is when, we didn't even know if he was going to make the team. And I'm not saying I know or I'm right. It's not about that. My first instinct, the first time I ever gave an opinion on Brock was Gamer versus Kansas City. Oh, he's a gamer. The next game, bro, don't come at me weird, but hey, this dude is a young Russ Wilson type hype, and Russell Wilson was basically the best quarterback in the NFL for a minute there. I mean, he took the NFL by storm. You know what I'm saying? Won the Super Bowl in his second year, and it's looking like Purdy can do that for sure. And the 49ers and the defense. So it's just, hey, man, he better be in it. If he's not in it, there's something, the system is broke. But, we want more than that. I would trade MVP for a Super Bowl in a heartbeat. But he's in it and well deserving to the fullest, everything he's doing. Now we're going to hop over to the defense unless y'all wanted to touch any more on Purdy.
Yeah, I would just say the narrative on Purdy. I mean, he wasn't supposed to be here. He's not supposed to be here. Every team passed on Purdy, 7 times except for the Niners. So to see what Purdy's doing is unbelievable. I think he's proven a lot of people wrong. And people still want to doubt him. I think that's just what it comes down to. Also, it's for clicks. I mean, to say a quarterback, to say Purdy's not a franchise quarterback because he wears his hat backwards. Like, come on, man. Like that's the best you can do. Cowherd. Come on, man.
Colin, I've stood up for you, Colin. Like, I like Colin Cowherd because there was good. Probably in 2015, I was gambling pretty heavy on sports. And there was one year where Colin gave his blazing 5 picks, like his 5 picks against the spread.
Good segment.
He was hot that year. He was hitting 65% of his picks. And I was like, God damn, Colin Cowherd knows his stuff. Right. But then you go out, Colin, you say something so stupid as wearing your hat backwards. Like, come on, man. I thought people came around like Ken Griffey, the get off my lawn crowd was getting on Ken Griffey for putting the hat backwards. It's like, I thought you learned from that because Ken Griffey, it's a press conference, man. Is the news cycle that slow? We got to analyze what direction the quarterback's hat is.
There's nothing left. There's nothing left for them to.
There's nothing left for them to say. Yeah.
Didn't someone on the Niners say, hey, please keep talking about him? Like, you never know. That could be, it works for some people. You get to talking about it. It's, okay, watch this. Look at Michael Jordan. He took every little slight as personal as you could possibly take it. And look what Jordan and Purdy has that same vibe. I know Purdy tries to come off. I don't get into all that stuff. Yada, yada. Yeah, look what he did to Patrick Peterson week 1. Yeah. Patrick Peterson got the talking. So what did he do? Back shoulder. He targeted him and he won. All he said is we'll see. And Purdy knows what's up. I understand that he's not going to let that throw him off his game. So that's why he's holding on. That's why he's holding on to that mentality. Because he's that focused, but he hears it, he knows it, and he's going to show it, and he did it again, So
Purdy does his talking on the field. Like, he doesn't have to be vocal about what other people say. He just lets his talking prove his point, and that's to me that's better than talking to me.
Just even saying something like "we'll see," it speaks almost louder, because it's like, who's this? So we'll see what it makes you feel a little, maybe slightly timid about it.
I don't got to tell you. I'm gonna
show you. I'm gonna show you.
I'm gonna show you.
Dude, Brock was so freaking money, dude. Brock was so money. It's like so many of these third down conversions that Jay was talking about. They were pretty tight window throws. Sideline to Ayuk or out route to Jawan Jennings. And just a lot of the throws, there were some that were schemed open, right? Like the CMC wheel where he put the linebacker on skates and ran past him. Hey, but we've seen how many times have we seen 10 miss that throw, right? Where Juszczyk is running up the sideline, open on the wheel, and it's like Mullins missed a gimme wide open like that too. It's like we've seen that throw miss so many times. It was like hallelujah. We got a guy who not only can hit that throw, but he can hit any throw, and just how decisive and accurate he is, man.
And
he's elite. He is elite.
He's elite, man. And he puts a spin on it. I don't know if y'all notice that, but it's like he puts a little extra spin on it to where it looks like almost the ball's moving slow, but it feels like it's coming in hot. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I know you play baseball, baller. I know you gotta, know revs, what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
To the revs, if
there's something to the rotation.
You could have two fastballs that are the same miles per hour, but the one that has more revolutions on it, it kind of like, it almost seems like it rises a little bit. It's a little different when you put some extra revs on it.
You talk to shooters, hey, pay it. I'm not saying like y'all pay attention like this, but like see if y'all notice it the next couple games. If it's the flick of the wrist, man. It's Steph Curry. He spins it. You hear quarterback gurus talking about spinning it a certain way. Hey, quick question. Is my audio coming in cool? There's no static or nothing? Or maybe it's just on my end, but
nah, no static. You sound clear.
All right, perfect. I didn't want that to go on through the whole show, so it's just in my ears. I could deal with it. But yeah, man, I've been seeing it for a while, but I'm just now saying it. But it feels like he puts a little extra, maybe not heat on it, but it's spin, and it feels like it slowly comes in hot almost. But hey, he's accurate, the most accurate quarterback in the NFL right now, protecting the ball. It's amazing that just, not too long ago, there were folks talking about Sam Darnold might come in, you know what I'm saying? And one more thing about the MVP conversation. Look, CMC is phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on our team, all our weapons are phenomenal. That's why I say you give the MVP to the 49ers offense, Shanahan included. And the one thing that I look at is if you take CMC off the field, we got Mason, Mitchell, and Debo that can run the rock. If you take Purdy off the field, we got Darnold coming in. And I know that's just one piece of an argument, you know what I'm saying? But, that's the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like we could still get by without CMC. And I feel like it would be all bad with Darnold, but hey, hopefully we never get to find that out. We need to stay healthy, and we're going to transition to the defense, the likes, dislikes. I'll start it off, man. I think the biggest thing that I liked was listening to Bosa talk, not about getting sacks, listening to the selflessness without the pride of getting his statistics, listening to how they had a game plan, how they wanted to contain, how they accomplished that. Just team, man. When you have this much talent and you're this good and you're this favored, it comes down. I feel like it comes down to injuries and playing for one another, just being fully connected and being, that one heartbeat, that one voice, that one, everybody has the same mindset. And kind of a few weeks back, when, what was it? Kittle, Purdy, and someone was talking, and they said, it was the end of the game. It was an interview. And he said, oh, well, if he didn't say that, I would have said that anyway. It's like, this team is just on point. The defense, Lenore laying the smack down. And I got to get to it. Man, last week I said, I want Jawan Jennings on the first play to come down, do a crack block. I will sacrifice a 15-yard penalty to just let them know, like, we are here. Like, we ain't afraid of y'all. We came into the link and we're laying the lumber. Well, it took a long time for it to happen, but that's exactly what I thought of when Drake Greenlaw slammed dude. My wife sees it and she's like, oh, no, he did slam him. I was like, babe, this is football. This is football. Slam them freaking harder next time. And when dude got in his face, little baby Dom, little dome piece, he got up in his grill. And also I thought about when Greenlaw, was just almost just like telling him to be quiet, he just wanted to touch his lips, just like, hey, you shut your mouth, go sit down. And then not only that, but when Debo, I think, scored, was it the first or second touchdown where he told the crowd to be quiet? So it's like you got Debo telling the crowd to be quiet. You got Greenlaw over here touching one of the most sacred dudes for Philly people, besides Rocky. He physically told him to be quiet. It was just beautiful, man. It was the bend don't break. We didn't give up the touchdowns. You see Ambry Thomas knocking balls down, Mooney Ward knocking balls down. Versus a team like Philly, of course they're going to get a couple of slants. Of course they're going to get theirs. But we manhandled it, man. I feel like we just manhandled them. Kinlaw wasn't getting pushed all over. He wasn't getting pushed off the equator. Who else was there? I'll leave some meat on the bones for you guys, but just freaking sideline Steve did it again. Let's go, baby.
Hey, that top flight security of the world, he needs to know his role and shut his mouth. Right. I was thinking of The Rock, man. I mean, come on, man. First of all, I know you are security, but instead of trying to secure another player, why not secure your player? Tell your guy or ask your guy to calm down or come back. Don't put your hands on another player. And I think Sirianni apologized to Shanahan at the end of the game for getting Dre Greenlaw kicked out of the game.
That's all gamesmanship, though. I read Sirianni's lips during the game, and he was saying, "Kick him,
better kick him."
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so it's like Sirianni's saying, "Oh, Shanahan, man, my guy shouldn't have done that." But during the game, he's saying, "Kick him."
I'm sure it was in the heat of the moment. Of course, it's like when you're rooting for another opposing player to get kicked out of the game, especially if you're going up against the Warriors and Draymond Green acting the fool, and the opposing fans were like, "Yeah, kick him out, kick him out." I think that was more like that, but I don't think he'll ever do that again. He was overzealous security. I don't think he'll ever do that again if he's even allowed on the sidelines again. He definitely overstepped his boundaries. Of course, was the play warranted by Greenlaw? Nah. I mean, he took it too far, but that's what Dre does. We love him for it. Is you got to take the good with the bad. But yeah, he definitely overplayed his hand. That's for sure. But as far as the defense likes, dislikes, I love the physicalness, of course, from Dre. I've learned to live with him. It's just that's the type of Dre Greenlaw you're going to get. Fred Warner even mentioned, man, he's like, I try to hit like Dre. I love his intensity, but I just can't hit like him. And no one, I haven't seen too many people in the NFL that hit like Dre Greenlaw. And he really brings the lumber. Something else that I like from the defense, Khalil Davis. I know it was in garbage time, but he got a sack. I think he also had a tackle for loss, a QB hit. That was good to see from him. Also, I wrote who else on defense. I love the key stops in the first two offensive drives the Eagles had. We played a bend but don't break defense. It didn't come back to bite us, but we had huge stops from Mooney Ward in the end zone, not allowing a touchdown catch from A.J. Brown. Ambry Thomas, man, I mean, we were talking at the beginning of the year, Ambry Thomas may not even make the squad. Like, and now he's playing opposite Mooney Ward, starting corner. So, hey, you got to believe in yourself because everyone's going to doubt you, but Ambry keep putting in that work. Clearly he has, and he's reaping the benefits of it now. And he's playing outstanding out there. Kinlaw. Hey, I know Jalen Hurts, he tripped over the ant, but the Kinlaw was there to at least make sure he stayed on the ground in that long. I think it was like a 3rd and 19 or something like that. That play prevented, a possible touchdown by the Eagles, and they only got up 6-0. So I thought at times Jalen Hurts had time to throw. He was back there in the pocket a little bit, but it really didn't come back to bite us. So I liked a lot of what I saw. I mean, we only allowed 19 points to the Eagles. I think that's pretty damn good. If we only allow 19 points the rest of the year, I mean, I can't really complain that much, right? So I think there was definitely more likes than dislikes in this game for sure.
You could name any player on this defense, and I feel like there's something positive to say about the game that they just had against the Eagles. You guys said some of the hot names, and I mean, the first one I got to name is Javon Kinlaw. Like, not only did he get the sack where Hurts fell, but I felt his impact throughout the game. Like, Armstead went down at some point, like in the second half. Like, I stopped seeing him on the field, but you did see a lot of Kinlaw and then Kalia Davis come in. And so some guys stepped up, but Javon Kinlaw, he had a huge impact, pushing the pocket. I saw him chasing down Hurts a couple of times. He was running after him. So shout out to Kinlaw. Randy Gregory, I thought, made some plays. He should have had a sack, right? He kind of came in and looped in on one stunt, and he was right there, and he tried to grab Hurts, but he couldn't get him. But I thought Randy Gregory had a good game, again, kind of pushing the pocket, compressing it on him. The linebackers, both Fred and Dre, until Dre got ejected. And Big Dom, I found out some info on Big Dom. Big Dom has a 600-day consecutive cheesesteak eating streak. The guy eats cheesesteaks every day. He bleeds Cheese Whiz. What I've heard. So, Big Dom, hey, I'm looking out for your health, big dog. Slow it down. Okay, maybe step off the sideline a little bit. Slow down. But the linebackers, Fred and Dre, I thought were awesome. Those were the reasons they shut down the Eagles' run game. Fellas, the Eagles, DeAndre Swift's having a good year. Like, DeAndre Swift is a good back, and the Niners shut him down. The corners, Charvarius Ward and Ambry, they were both good. Ward gave up some catches, but when the play needed to be made, like down in the red zone, Hurts is targeting A.J. Brown. Who's there to break up the pass, to get the PBU? It's Charvarius Ward. So same thing with Ambry. Like, he gave up some catches. I thought he was playing kind of soft on Devontae Smith at times, or he's giving him 10 or 12 yards of cushion, and Devontae was getting some easy catches. But when the play needed to be made and Hurts took a shot down the field, Ambry Thomas is there to break it up. So the DBs, shout out to them. The safeties, Tayshaun Gibson, I thought he played well. They were blitzing him. He was good. Jair Brown, I thought, was super physical. Jair Brown just wanted to hit people too. He had one, I wouldn't even call it a missed tackle, because it was like him and another guy like both hit Smith at the same time, and it almost just kind of like counterbalanced it because they both hit him. Yeah. So then Smith was able to stay on his feet. So other than that, I thought Jair Brown was really good. He was flying around making plays. Nick Bosa had an impact out there. Well, the Niners stuck to primarily that 4-man rush, fellas. I don't know if you guys saw it the same way, but there wasn't a lot of heavy blitzes. They wanted to rely on that 4, and for the most part, they did a good job containing him. A couple times Hurts escaped the pocket, which he's going to do. He's an athletic playmaking quarterback, but for the most part, they contained him. They made him uncomfortable. And then the coverage, fellas, the coverage was sticky. And, holding them to those field goals early, man, that was huge.
This is what makes
real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to mention we relied on that 4-man front. I think part of the reason that was to try to contain Hurts and not blitz and allow him to go the opposite direction, because he didn't really run that much. I know he scrambled to buy time to pass, but he didn't really have any big runs down the field. So I think that was key to only having 4 guys rush. You have more linebackers and safeties in coverage, so that way he can't have those big runs. So just wanted to mention that.
It felt like it was coverage sack over coverage sack over coverage sack. It just felt like, and it makes it feel, because I said it a few weeks back, I was just like, man, when you really start watching every other quarterback, like Brock Purdy's quarterbacking better than everybody. And what I mean by that is when like Hurts gets to a second read, it's almost like there isn't a second read. It's like first read gone. I see Patrick Mahomes do it a lot too. He'll see first read ain't there. He wants to get out so then he could turn it into backyard football. And it's like Purdy could do the backyard football, plus he's going through his reads and his stuff quicker than anybody. And so we seen it over and over. Like we flipped the script on them. They probably thought we were going to try to come out and be ultra, even more aggressive and blitz to where maybe the AJ Brown slant would have been a touchdown. Maybe the other one would have been a touchdown too, but it wasn't. And he was back there like he didn't know what to do after it was like, okay, I didn't get sacked, but I can't go nowhere. I can't really run because Fred's spying me or Greenlaw spying me. And then when Greenlaw goes out, what happens? Here comes Oren freaking Burks dang near knocking his head back. So it's like, because what I say sometimes, I'll sacrifice the 15-yard penalty. Some people look at it like, hey, this is dumb, Greenlaw. Come on, use logic. But sometimes there's a spirit and there's a momentum that carries with someone like a Greenlaw who tells Big Dom to shut his mouth and gets ejected. Then you've seen Oren Burks come in fighting hard. It just, I told my wife, we're watching the game. We're going to see who's going to get, someone's going to get the momentum from this. And it just felt like, of course, we got the momentum, we had it, but it didn't feel like whether it was a big Dom, a little Dom, a baby Dom, we were going to wreak havoc no matter what. It didn't matter if Greenlaw got injected, Kinlaw freaking body slam. That game, like we were going to do that. It was for a reason. Layers on top of layers. My man 49er minded, but and this defense, like you said, we could name almost everybody there, man. Even Oren Burks. I mean, D Winters got in at the end of the game. This was just an old fashioned beat down to all the Sam Reddick come and line that shit up and all this and Debo and how about Debo, man, talking about if we had Purdy, I don't think it would have been close. And
he was right.
He was fully right. I think that's what Tupac used to do back in the day. He would talk about it and then make a song about it. Like Biggie was a little bit different. He would make the song, then talk about it. Some people will talk about it and really mean that shit. Like it ain't no game. Like he believes it in his soul and it poured out on the field. And hey, there's one other person that I've seen this year that was talking, and that was the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons. He got to talking after we beat him down, and Debo said, hey, be careful, man. It might be worse next time. And I believe it. I believe, I think we mopped them up 42-10. I wouldn't be surprised on 42-7. Like, be careful what you ask for, Dallas, because, the 3 of the best teams, 4 of the best teams is arguably, we're the best, of course, right now. The 49ers, Eagles, Dallas, and Detroit. And what are we, 84 to 20 something? I mean, come on, put up 42 on both of them. It's just beautiful. Sideline Steve did it again. Kyle Shanahan, the whole entire squad. And one thing, it just came to my mind. Debo came out the gates, freaking returning kicks. 7 yards deep in the end zone? If that doesn't get you fired up right away, that felt like, hey, we better see that in the Super Bowl. I know I'm counting the chickens, but I'm that confident, man. I feel it.
You mentioned the Niners beating the Cowboys and the Eagles, and one thing that was paramount in both those games were the Niners just out physical both squads. Like that's something that we've seen. If the Niners can beat you up front, typically you're not going to be able to stay in the game long. And you mentioned Oren Burks. I wanted to mention him because he came in and he was part of I think it was him and Fred Warner who laid the lumber on Jalen Hurts. Hurts had to come out of the game. And Hurts, when he scrambles, he usually avoids the big hits. He usually doesn't get hit like that. And I think he was even surprised himself. And I was surprised he even came back in. They said they were evaluating him for a head injury. So I guess he passed concussion protocol. But by then, the game was pretty much over, but they still had him out there. But kudos to Oren Burks. That was his Dre Greenlaw impression. And, hey, he did a fine job for sure.
Man, I'm glad you kept it going, Jay, because I thought about one of our discussions was how to stop the tush push, or that thing that the quarterback sneak. How do we stop the quarterback sneak? You know what I'm saying? And Baller was talking about last week. Hey, come around those edges, take out those guys from behind. and we actually stopped one of their tush pushes by, I think it was Chase Young came around the edge. As he's still trying to go forward, he kind of not, I guess you could call that a horse collar, but he grabbed his ass by the back and, yanked him back. Did y'all see that?
I did. I was surprised that they didn't call it.
Hey, well, it stopped it. It wasn't called. And, I
Worked.
know they got it in. Hey, maybe they heard Baller. I don't know, but they didn't go for the knees. At least he didn't hurt nobody while he was doing what he was doing. I had to throw that up in there. We already basically touched on the green law and Lil Dom situation. Hey, could y'all imagine like E40, starting to get real good with the Niners and he's over there on the side and that's E40, bro, man. He loved the Bay, loyal to the soil. You know what I'm saying? And could you imagine E40, pushing back, Roquan Smith or something, or just, like, bro, like, come on, like what are you doing, dude? Like, who did I hear? I heard someone talking about, but you're security, bro. You're supposed to be keeping things like cool.
Yeah,
like,
you could argue he escalated the situation. And I think that's exactly what he did. Like, if you really wanted to calm the situation down, you grab your guy. You don't grab the other player. Like, what do you think he's going to do? You think he's going to do like this? No, he's going to come right after you. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he's on the sideline again, But
and the Sirianni thing, because Baller was talking about the bullshit about his gamesmanship at the end. God, man, if there's Sirianni, man, it's I had a little bit of a point and it completely left me. Hopefully it comes back. But yeah, they got humbled. Oh, yeah. My point was if he had to show his team the 49ers talking trash, I thought about that. Like if he had to show his team, like as the coach and you're showing your team, I took that as he knew the 49ers were better. That's the way I took it. If you got to try to build some extra momentum, hey, I'm going to show y'all that they was like talking crap. That to me screams out a little bit of fear. I don't know about y'all, but
I think the game was still in the balance on that play. And I think he of course he wanted Greenlaw out of the game. And I think at the end of the game he was humbled. You saying through the week?
Through the week, he was showing his players that the 49ers were talking stuff to try to motivate them. Probably sometime at the end of game film or something. Hey, y'all, I couldn't imagine how he presented it to him.
Yeah.
But, just it shouldn't surprise us, a coach like him screaming,
I mean, honestly, I could see most coaches, if the opposing team is talking smack before the game, I could see most coaches showing that to their players. Like, that doesn't, to me, it doesn't really surprise me. I can see Shanahan doing that. I mean, you want to give your players the extra motivation, but I think Sirianni was humbled at the end of the game. So, which he should be.
We might never know, but one thing I do know is it feels like Shanahan did tell our players to just, hey, keep it on the hush this week. Keep it, most of it. Debo's going to say what he says, but hey, keep it on the hush. Who knows? We might never know, but that came out somehow, some way, but
hey, whatever Sirianni said to him, whatever he showed him, shit didn't work. All right, because Debo was the one who was doing a lot of the talking, and he was the same
Sirianni
one who was running over their linebacker. Get off of me.
Yeah.
42 tonight. Like, come on. All right, game ball. It's game ball time. I did have a topic team to beat, but I think I know the answer to that. To that, or the damn team to beat. We are here to the fullest, man. I know we could give the game ball to almost. I mean, it's got to be unanimous on this one. I mean, there's Debo. Oh, straight up, man. I mean, you could give the game ball to the whole team, to the boombox guy, John Lynch on the sideline at the end of it. even Greg Papa, sometimes I like him,
Hey,
sometimes
man,
I
I thought the
don't.
water girl was getting everyone hydrated swiftly. Like, shout out to the water girl.
Hey, we could take this if there's anything we didn't touch on. Man, how much talk was talked this week about might there be a Moody kick? Look at Elliott's kick. Yeah, Elliott was doing some kicking because they wasn't scoring no damn touchdowns. But
Right.
we didn't even get to see. I think Moody made all 6 of his extra
Extra
points. He
point.
was
Yeah.
perfect. Mitch Wisnowski, I didn't even notice that he was on our team anymore, even though
Right.
he's phenomenal. There was a couple of weeks there where we were joking around. Our high points on some of our shows was Jake Moody and Mitch Wisnowski, kicked, punted for 300 yards today. And that was non-existent. Hey, hopefully there are no more bumps in the road this year, and we're going to just take this thing all the way. I mean, we've seen a lesser 49er team run the table before and go on massive win streaks. Hopefully we got it out of our system early. Game ball to the whole damn team. That's the way I'm rolling. How y'all feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, Debo's well deserving. You could give it to Brock, Kyle Shanahan. I mean, I thought Shanahan had an excellent game plan. After he saw his initial one didn't work, I thought he switched up. He was like, "Oh, I think might need to run the ball with CMC, and go to I formation and do what has made it successful his entire tenure." So, credit to Shanahan, he did well. Sideline Steve, hey, he's continuing to exceed. He might coach his way into maybe a head coaching position. Which great for him, but I would love to see another year with Steve Wilkes. I think he's done very well. Yeah, I mean, Kittle was great. I mean, everyone was great. Ayuk was great. Jennings, I'm gonna give it to Jennings, man. Stiff arm that guy. Get in the end zone. He's always making big catches. Like he maximizes his opportunities, as E has said. He doesn't get a lot of targets, but he might get 2 or 3 a game. But he's usually going to bring down all his targets, and they're going to be for big first downs that extend drives. So I'm gonna give it to Juwan Jennings. That's what I'm gonna give it to.
Man, Juwan put his whole body into it, bro. Like my little man, my middle child, when she was when she was like 2 or 3, my middle child. When she wanted to let a real good scream out, she would always like turn her head when she did it. And that's the first thing I thought of. Like he put his all into it. And wasn't there some talk about Juwan Jennings? Someone said something about, oh, you're just a tight end or some shit like that. Like, so I'm not sure if it was this week, but it might have been. Maybe Baller knows, but I just know he put his all into that stuff.
Yeah.
You just felt it seeping out of the pores of the whole 49er team, man. Like, and it feels like we do this every week. This isn't like, we're always going, sometimes we're talking about, hey, we need to slow it down just a notch, baby. It's going to be all right. But
yeah. And not to mention the stuff that doesn't pop up on the stat sheet with Juwan is his blocking. Excellent blocking. And Ayuk blocking as well. So
all of them. Kittle,
all of them.
Kittle block. Kittle was blocking 2 dudes, I think, on the Debo TD. Like, oh man, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. We are going to transition to something else kind of funny because I didn't realize how much my wife pays attention. Now, go ahead, bro.
I didn't give out my game ball yet.
Holy shit! Look at man, I'm the host too. Like,
it's all good. No, it's all good. But I like that. I like that. I'm going. I like to go kind of the motivational route. I mean, the obvious one is Debo, which is how freaking awesome Debo Samuel played, getting the ball in his hands, running over dudes, making big plays. That one's pretty, McCaffrey too. Like I thought McCaffrey was awesome. Brock Purdy, awesome. But I like going the motivational route. And I gave this guy a game ball a few weeks ago, and I'm rolling with it. I'm sticking with Javon Kinlaw.
Yeah.
I want a Javon, man. Keep it up. Keep having an impact on these games. keep making people like myself look bad because I doubted you coming into this year. Javon, keep shutting me up because, hey, man, here's the game ball. I saw your impact. I felt it. Jalen Hurts felt your impact. So I'm going to give this one to Javon.
You made me think of Ambry Thomas. And I hate to say excuses, but I do remember when folks were getting on him, when it was at the peak of how bad Ambry Thomas was this specific year. And I think because I ran into a Michigan Wolverine fan. I was like, hey, what's up with Ambry? And he reminded me of his colitis. And so I remember it was probably before the season even started, but I remember I was like, hey, man, there's still hope for Ambry. You know what I'm saying? And I know I like to be like that with all the 49er faithful or the players, but I'm kind of thinking, besides practice, besides the noise, like what was the worst performance that Ambry has had? It's like it's easy to start throwing around words on how someone's trash or this guy's just. I mean, we seen Oliver get burnt over and over and over. I don't really remember Ambry just getting burnt over and over. I remember his rookie season. It was like, okay, he's in position. He's not getting his head turned around. Same thing happened with Lenore. He's in position. Some of these guys are just bigger. Hey, man, these guys are growing up. These guys are growing up. These guys, I mean, what? Is this Ambry's third year? This is the Lenore's second or something like that. These guys are young, but they got heart, they got speed, they got talent. They want to be there. I think Ambry hit somebody. Gainwell, Ambry laid a hit. I mean, he didn't drop him. It didn't look like spectacular, but he smacked him. And man, shout out to the secondary. We were worried, through those 3 losses that this could be our weakest link. Shout out to Ward. He responded in a major way, not committing the penalties. He's traveling with folks. So just beautiful all the way around. I think even Oliver came into the game as well. But Kinlaw, I know that probably meant a lot to him. I'm pretty sure they watched the tape last year on what happened with him. And, just all the way around, man. Great game balls by y'all two. But my wife, I got to get back onto the point of my wife, man. She clearly heard it. She said it before I did. She stopped cooking and everything. So she listens a lot harder than I think to the games because she said, hold up. Did they just say sea hacks? I don't know if y'all caught that. Did y'all catch that?
Who said that
live? Who did the broadcast? It wasn't
Greg
Olsen. It was the other guy. But I think they came right out of commercial break. We're already mollywopping them. We're already beating the brakes off of them. And they come out of commercial break. I believe that's when it was. But he said, yeah, so they're going to be playing the Sea Hacks. And I think he even chuckled at himself, like he kind of caught himself. I was like, damn, I never heard the Sea Hacks. I was like, that was good. I was like, that was on point. Like the way we're already beating down the Eagles, just slip that one in there. I tell my girls when they do certain stuff, I was like, oh, that was an act of purpose, huh? Like you could tell when someone accidentally, purposefully kind of slips one in there. And that was an act of purpose right there, the C hack. But hey, let's preview it. I know we just played them. Unless y'all want to say anything else about the Philly game, I think we nailed everything we could nail. Another thing, I don't know if they turned down the volume, but it felt like there was a lot of noise when we would score touchdowns. It felt like on certain replays, I could hear it loud, but all of a sudden it'd be muffled. I don't know if they was doing that for broadcast, but they didn't want to show how much faithful was out there. Maybe for the Eagles, typically they kind of rave about it on normal games where it's like, oh, the faithful, are out here deep. They'll show us in the crowd, but they kept this one low. I don't know for, who knows why, but yeah, man, if y'all want to touch on the Eagles, have at it. But hey, man, we could talk about the Seahawks. We got it coming up. Maybe we could give some quick predictions, however y'all want to spin it. We just faced them at home.
Hey, real quick.
No, go ahead.
Real quick on Debo. I have to give props to Debo. The year where he wanted his contract extension, I was disappointed in Debo and the social media tactics. You don't know if Debo's coming in shape, but he kind of turned that around this offseason, best shape of his life. This was one of his biggest games. I just think from an impact standpoint, like he put his stamp on the game, and the breaking the tackles, the huge yards after the catch. He set the tone on offense. He is the Dre Greenlaw of the offense. Guys, defenders, they don't want to tackle Debo, and I just have to give him his flowers. He had a hell of a game, and he showed up in the biggest moment. This was the biggest game of the regular season. He put his stamp on the game. Kyle Shanahan trusted that Debo would perform and excel, and that's exactly what he did. So, yeah, I got to give kudos to Debo, man. He had a hell of a game, and we're going to need these types of performances from Debo in the playoffs. That's for sure. We're definitely going to need these type of impactful games. In regards to the Seahawks, man, I mean, I think they're
I wanted to piggyback off you about Debo because I don't think we said enough too.
Yeah.
When we came out of the bye week and he wasn't putting up numbers, but we manhandled the Jacksonville Jaguars, I said, man, he makes a major impact. Just it feels like I can't remember my exact words, but I'm sure y'all remember. I was like, he makes an impact. Just his presence makes an impact on this team. And I was going back. I was hoping we were going to see that Debo game on Thursday night because I was like, hey, the New York Giants, we seen that snippet of Debo. We seen the real Debo come out. And they're playing it a certain way because that's going to be one of our major guys that's going to have the gas in the tank at the end. Maybe CMC's a little bit more worn down, but guess who isn't going to be? It's going to be freaking Debo.
Yep.
And I said how much of an impact he makes, even when he's getting his 3 catches. He just does. There's some kind. It's Debo. His name is Debo. When you hear the freaking tires squeaking, like you better tuck the chain. This isn't like Rocky. This isn't like a fictional character. He's a real Debo. Like when he was a little kid, this man was bullying people. Like he's that dude. You know what I'm saying? And Debo is, man, I had something else that slipped me, but there's just something special about Debo, man. He's back in the day, they used to say Mr. October, Reggie Jackson for the New York Yankees and the Oakland A's. He hit 3 consecutive home runs, and they labeled him Mr. October. And, they used to talk about he was the straw that stirred the drink. And that's kind of like what Debo does for us. I feel like even when he's not having massive games, he's the guy coming. He's the swag of this team. He just brings that extra it factor on with just the passion, man. He obviously loves it. People could joke around about him crying on the sideline, but that's because he freaking loves it, man. He puts his heart and soul into this shit. And sometimes putting your heart and soul doesn't equate 150 yards. He put up 30 yards, 3 games. Oh, what's up with the Debo? Is he out of shape? Nah, man, did you see the blocks he made? Did you see, there's a lot more to the game than just numbers. It's like, watch the game and you'll see what it, look a little harder, and big props to Debo. I'm glad you brought that back up.
Yeah. I want to jump in before we dive in on the Seahawks. Debo he is himself at all times. Like Debo is who he is. He's not faking nothing. Like I was watching a Kruger interview. Kruger was talking to Odom. This was before Odom went down, but he was talking to Odom, and Debo has the locker next to Odom. And so Debo sat down next to him and kind of chimed in on the interview. So Kruger turned to Debo and tried to get him to chime in on a question, asked him a question. Debo goes, "Oh no, it ain't my media day." It's just that's just Debo is who he is, But the guy I wanted to talk about before we get to the Seahawks is I want to go back to Jawan Jennings, dude. I don't know where he's from, but it feels like he came from the gutter. Like it feels like a dude who just grinds for everything, with the physicality and I don't know if you guys get that same vibe, but JJ, I think he's on the last year of his deal. And
Yeah.
I hope somehow we can retain him, but there might be another team around the league that kind of needs some of that toughness and that grit and might offer him kind of like similar to what happened with KB, Kendrick Bourne,
Right.
where it's like, yeah, we liked him. He was good for us, but hey, if the Patriots are going to give you, $8 million a year, we might not be able to match that. But shout out to JJ because his toughness, I see it every week.
Yeah. You need that on your squad, both sides of the ball. You need it.
Hey, man, here's a topic. You just made me think of it. Like, what are we not? It's like, because I feel like we're smart, we're fast, we're tough, we're battle tested. I don't want to even go the route. If I need to see Purdy have a comeback win, well, that was the biggest comeback win you're ever gonna freaking see. Like, well, it wasn't in the fourth quarter. Well, they did it versus the Rays. But it's like, what? It's like, what don't the 49ers have? It's like, this is our year, y'all. We have to stay healthy because I'm searching in my memory bank right now, and I know we don't got a big Dom, but we got the big Fonzarelli. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like what don't we have, Niner gang? Hey, let us know in the chat if there's one thing. And if you want to try to pick the low hanging fruit, like, well, McKivitz, well, show me on tape where McKivitz is just getting thrown around like McGlitchy. I don't see it. I think he's playing pretty damn solid. You know what I'm saying? I don't see our line just getting. I know I've seen a couple times Jake Brendel, but that's going to happen to anybody. I seen, who was it? Not Sharif on the Jacksonville Jaguars tonight kind of get tossed around. I was like, damn, I thought he was really damn good. Like, you're going to see it happen,
Yeah.
But hey, is there any little inch I'm missing, y'all, on, what it takes to be a champion, on like what we might not have? Like, cause the easy picks was the right side of the line or the secondary or opposite Bosa. And it's kind of like, hey, man, it's
for whatever reason, the national media wants us to win by a one possession, or they want us to win. It's 28-28 fourth quarter, 2 minutes left. Purdy, drives us down the field. We get a field goal or touchdown to win the game. For some reason, people on the outside want us to win like that. But if you look at our games, like 8 out of the 9 of our victories, we've won by more than 2 scores. So it's just that we're that much better. I think that's just what it comes down to. When we win, usually we beat the brakes off you. Like our closest game was 30-23 versus the Rams. And that was week 2. Every other game after that, we've won by more than double figures. So I'll take that. I think we have the highest point differential in the NFL because we just blow teams out. When we play how we're supposed to play, we blow teams out, and I'm never going to apologize for that. Never going to apologize for that. But yeah, but if you want to talk about McKivitz, who I think he's getting better. I don't see that much of a weakness as long as we stay healthy. The H word. I mean, I think we could beat anyone.
So. Healthy, hungry, hot, man. We're definitely hungry. We're definitely hot. We're healthy. Who wants it more? We seem like we want it more than anybody. Those are the main components. The trenches feel solidified. We just went up, versus, arguably the best team that we're going to see in the trenches right there. And we did the damn thing, to say, lightly, but yeah, man. Beautiful all the way around. Hey, man, it's the Seahawks again. It should be Sunday. It's at Levi's. Hey, we could talk about the rest of the games too. I don't know how y'all are on time. It's the Bird Gauntlet, and we're 2-0 so far. We got the Seahawks, we got the Cardinals, the Ravens, and then I think it's Commanders and Rams. So, things are looking in our favor. Anything could happen any given Sunday. There could be another off game coming. It happens. It's the NFL. but things are looking nice for us, man. We got Philly playing Dallas next week at Dallas. You know, it might be one of the few times we're going to all be rooting for Dallas. I think that would put us in what, a 3-way tie if that happens. And I think we're going to own the tiebreaker because we mollywopped the snot and the piss out of Dallas and the Eagles. So cry Eagles, cry, man. I almost did a Sweet Caroline version of Cry Eagles Cry.
Was Jalen Carter crying on the sideline?
Did
anyone else see that?
Man, he was crying.
I think he threw a punch. I think he threw a punch.
What? What are you crying about, Jalen?
I think he was
Getting
so
his ass
mad. To be honest, I think he was so mad, like he let the team down. That's just my take. I think he's crying like, damn, man, we might have came back. I just cost us the game. He's young, got emotional, but still, that man was crying. That man was crying. Week 13, home field.
You got to think he's probably been super successful wherever he's been. I mean, he went to the University of Georgia, best defensive lineman when he was there. Like, he's probably been super successful. He's probably you could probably count on one hand the amount of times he's gotten blown out like that. Like, and you know, it's probably rare for him. But in regards to the Seahawks game,
he's lost a game.
Yeah, I know it's been a while.
And this is one of time. I think the last 2 losses that Jalen Hurts has had, I heard it on 95.7 The Game. So correct me if I'm wrong, if y'all know about it. But I think the 2 losses that Hurts has had, in recent memory, he's had a gang of turnovers. And my biggest last week, we talked about it, Baller. Jay, you weren't there last week, but my biggest thing was whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. Oddly enough, you know, Purdy didn't make any mistakes. Hurts didn't make any mistakes, but it came down to, you know, really, it basically came down to red zone, you know, and even besides the red zone, man, you're not going to be the team that scores 6 straight touchdowns, period. You know, and so it just came down to, you know, because, you know, there's a lot of folks, if they would have put up 14, if it would have been 14-0, and, you know, maybe Kyle gets a little more desperate, maybe Brock tries to force it a little bit more. Hey, coulda, woulda, shoulda. That wasn't the case, you know, so yeah, man, didn't come down to turnovers. Oh, what's up with it, Shardo? Man, it's been a minute.
Hey, huge shout out to everyone in the chat. Love having the chat. Be active. Love to see it. And yeah, he says what's up to you as well, Kelts. Hey, but I like where the Seahawks game ended up. When I initially saw the schedule, I was like, well, why the hell are we playing the Seahawks 2 out of the next 3 weeks? It was kind of weird how they sometimes do that with divisional games, but I think the Niners still have to get up for this game. I know that was a huge emotional win. We've seen this team when we beat the Cowboys. It was like, oh, we won the Super Bowl, and then we laid an egg, you know, after that, the next 3 weeks. So I want to see how this team, you know, shows up at Levi Stadium against the Seahawks. It's kind of a letdown, but then it still is a division game, and I think the Seahawks are still trying to get into the playoffs. So I want to see how the Niners respond, because this is your biggest win of the year, and now you're playing a division opponent, so you still have to get up. You still have to bring that same fire, that same passion. Will we see that? Will there be a letdown? I mean, that's possible. We are at home, but Seattle has a lot to play for. I think didn't they lose last week? I think they've lost a few straight.
Yeah, I think they
Seattle's kind of free falling right now.
They had a hell of a game versus Dallas, man. I thought they were going to take it.
That's right.
I wasn't sure who to root for, but then once I really started thinking about the seeding and all that, I was like,
yeah,
there was a
Seattle's lost 3 straight games.
Yeah, they're falling off. It was bound to happen for Geno. That's just, you know, kind of. He's a good quarterback. He ain't never going to be great, you know, and you know that they hyped it up. You know, the numbers could show that, you know, he was playing great for a minute, but you face the Niner, you know, especially the Niners, because man, Bland, you know, he's returning all these pick sixes, but you know, he was getting cooked. You know, so yeah, I'm just looking at Seattle like, hey, like you said, Jay, we got to keep our foot on the gas. We got to stay focused. Just you hear Brock saying it after every single game and the rest of the 49ers. Hey, one game at a time, one game at a time. You know, we know the ultimate goal, but we're not going to, you know, even if Brock did have it circled, he was like, nah, I didn't have it circled. This is 2023. It's a new year. I'm focused right now in this moment. And, you know, that's what he's going to keep doing. That's what the Niners are going to keep doing. They all say the same things because they're a team, man. They're all united. At Levi's, man, I think it could be even worse. You know, if we just stick to what we do, it could be even worse than what we seen on Thursday night. You know, it's kind of everybody's now circling the Ravens game, and of course, man, that's going to be Christmas. Lamar Jackson,
can't wait.
you know, our next toughest opponent. That's going to be awesome, man. Christmas, we get a extra little stocking stuffer, so that's going to be hella dope. Baller, man, is there anything you're feeling about our remaining schedule? Anything around the league? Shoot it from the hip, and then we're going to be dipping up out of here.
You know, Niners winning this game against the Eagles, it gives them a shot at the 1 seed. Okay, but you can't slip up. You know, you can't drop another game. And we know what happened after the Niners, you know, dominated the Cowboys. They slipped up a few times. So I'm hoping this team stays locked in, because when we know they're focused and they execute, they're the best team in the NFL. So have that mindset going forward. You know, as for this week specifically, it feels like we own the Seahawks, to be honest. I mean, we beat them 3 times last year, you know, 2 regular season, 1 postseason, and all of them handedly, from what I remember. Like, none of those games were close. The game earlier this year was another blowout. So, yeah, it feels like the Niners have been dominating the Seahawks, but it is a divisional game. You got to be locked in. So while I don't think this game is going to be particularly close, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, because last time we were talking, you know, is this the best Niners team? Then they slipped up a few times. So let's stay focused, one game at a time. Give everything you got against this Seahawk team. They are a little banged up, right? You know, Kenneth Walker missed the last game, and Charbonnet got dinged up. So we'll see what's going on with the running backs. Jordan Brooks, who's a good linebacker for him, he's the one who had the pick 6 on Purdy Thanksgiving Day. He missed this last game with an ankle, so we'll see where that's at. You know, Niners, focus. You do you. You focus on what you can control, and they're going to blow the Seahawks out.
Hey, man, hey, we were right. We were right, baller, when we said, hey, this might be the best team, you know, since 94. And then, you know, we talked about that 94 team. Hey, they got blown out by the Eagles. I think it was 40-8, something like that. But, you know, hey, we lost 3 games in our last Super Bowl year. We got blown out that year, you know, and it happens to the best of them. It's why no one's ever done it since the Dolphins in 72. Yeah, Chardal says, you know, as you know, it's always the main keys. You know, you got to win in the trenches. You know, you got to keep the turnovers down and just execute, man. And there's nobody that's better at executing than Brock Purdy right now. Niners sickness, Beto. We got Loco Beto in the house. Yee, what's up, man? Long time no see. Says without Trent Williams, Debo, Samuel, Niners are not the same team. With both of them in the lineup, the Niners are unbeatable. Yeah, I gotta say this, Beto. I've echoed the same thing. I mean, those are 2 of the biggest dogs on our team. I mean, those are the 2 guys that bring the swag, coming out with the boombox. And even though I mentioned, hey, I don't like the boombox sometimes, but man, that's us. You know, I'm starting to get older in age with my 37-year-old, you know, self, and I'm like, I don't like some of this stuff, but I know damn well if I was 25 or I was freaking rocking on that squad, I'd be gigging something tough at coming out that damn tunnel every time. So I got to slow it down. I got to humble myself sometimes and remember, you know, what it's all about. But I do also want to say that, of course, we're better and we're unbeatable without or with Trent and Debo in there. But I feel like that's like no matter what tagged onto Brock. Like, look at what Brock can't do if he doesn't have this. I feel like we were gonna drop a couple of games and go in a little bit of a slump, no matter what. No matter who was on the field. It's just momentum. It's the nature of the beast of the NFL. Any given Sunday, it's gonna happen, right? It's kind of like what I said about Greenlaw. Whether Greenlaw got kicked out or Debo got kicked out, we were gonna manhandle that game. That's just what I believe. I feel like Brock was going to drop a couple regardless, but I feel like he gets tagged to Brock. Like, see, he's not MVP. Look what happened when Debo was out. I just feel like it creates stuff like that. But I agree with you at the same time, Beto. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Hey, I think we're up out of here. I think we covered.
Hey, I want to mention one last thing. So the Seahawks without Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, they're just not the same squad. They haven't beat us basically without Russell Wilson. Since he left in 2021, the Seahawks are 0-4 against us. It's only been one close game. That was December of 2022. We won 21-13. Every other game, we've won by more than double digits. So it really hasn't been close. The tide has turned because I know we could remember when it was Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll in their heyday. I mean, they gave us a lot of L's, but I think the trend has now reversed. Now the Niners are handing the Seahawks a lot of L's. So I think that will continue this Sunday. I think it'll be another double-digit victory by the Niners.
Yeah, I did like that Kansas City lost as well. Because every time the more I see Kansas City lose, I'm kind of like, just hasn't something came out where like Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game? Or is that
probably right?
Or,
yeah. Probably right. Yeah, because they
And I've mentioned quite a few times where it just feels like it's all opening up for us. Like, and you don't, and y'all know me. I'm the type of dude. I'm like, now I want the hard road. I don't want there to be any excuses. I don't want there to be any. You see, well, if Debo and Trent isn't in there, then that's why. No, I don't want none of that. I want it. However it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But watching KC lose, it's like that would be cool to see someone other than Kansas City. Now, get me right, don't mistake that for I don't want to face KC. I would love to face KC and beat him down. But my one prediction I did make, I wanted to pick a team that I thought was maybe the second or third favorite because I don't know. Sometimes I'll just pick the underdog like that, but I did say Dolphins, 49ers. It would give that, a headline of McDaniels and, Shanahan and Mostert. And, there was a while back last year, we heard a little bit of talking, a little chirping back and forth. I think that would be, for just NFL wise and just, kind of that little picture book. I know it's getting ahead of myself, but at the same time, I mean, that would be awesome to watch something like that unfold. Who else is really in the AFC? We got Lamar. We got the Ravens. Of course, you can never truly count out the Chiefs. You never know if they catch fire. If, they got a young receiver over there, Ray Rice, Scantley. I know their weapons are suspect, but hey, we seen Tony score in the Super Bowl last year. I think Sky Moore might have as well, and Pacheco go off. So you can't ever, discard the champs for no matter how it looks. So, but it's still looking wide open for us, like Mac Mall, like for sure, man. It's wide open. It's wide open, and yeah, man. With that being said, much love to everybody in the chat. I'll let y'all wrap it up after me, but we see Bobby, Steve-O, Sickness, Mr. Joe, Terradome, all y'all, much love, RM, Blue True, Tommy Huxley. We got everybody up in the house. R.I.P. Corey Davis. Much love. Rest in peace. It's always a reminder for me to be grateful, humble, and, that this life is precious, and, yeah, man, just, my heart is full. toward your family to the fullest, man. I couldn't even put it into words, man, no matter how much, I would try to want to. So, I had to say that one more time. Much love. Yeah, man, rest in peace.
Hey, I echo your sentiments, man. Well said. And just hug your loved ones and appreciate every day, because nothing is guaranteed. And I'm happy to be with the crew. We down one man tonight. Hopefully everything is good with Amin, and hopefully he'll be here next week. But yeah, we appreciate everyone coming out, just saying what's up, liking the channel, subscribing. We appreciate it. And hey, Baller, what is going on your YouTube channel this week, man? You got any shows coming up or what?
Hey, I'll be going post game right after the Seahawks. Always Mondays with you fellas. So you gotta subscribe, hit the notifications. Sometimes I go live, last minute, late night, late night baller talk. So, hey, fellas, like it's been said, R.I.P. KD, and I'm lucky to be here every Monday with you guys, and we're able to talk ball. So I look forward to it every Monday. I appreciate it. The chat was live. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Fellas, man, hey, the window is open. The door's cracked open for the Niners to get this 1 seed, okay? I don't think the Eagles are going to run the table. I don't. They're going to drop it either to the Cowboys here this week or maybe the week after. I know the Seahawks, we kind of give them a hard time, but Philly has to go to Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, right? Maybe I should double check that. I think they're going to Seattle. So the Seattle, it's a hostile environment. It's loud Philly, in there, whether they're cranking out some. What's up, Kelch?
Hey, Philly could easily, I know I hate the coulda, woulda, shoulda, but they could easily be 8-4 right now. I mean,
yeah,
we talked a few weeks back. I said KC let them off the hook. They knew exactly who they were.
And Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I know there was other shoot. I think the Rams played them close, if I'm not mistaken. I think
the Eagles are playing at Seattle Monday Night Football, December 18th.
That game might be a little tougher, it might be a little tougher than anticipated.
I'm gonna be rooting for Dallas. I'm gonna be rooting for Seattle. Damn. Hey, if y'all are all good, man, I'll end it with a
peace.
Man, much love to Amin the Dream, and in honor of Amin the Hakeem Dream, bang bang Niner. Yeah.
Straight out of the bang, bang bang Niner.
Hit it up, bro.
Bang bang Niner.
Bang bang Niner.
Bang bang Niner gang.
Bang bang.